Hello everybody, welcome to my home, and today is a little bit of a different episode because I thought that I'll just show you how I've been living in my one bedroom, 484 square feet for the past 2 years. So if you're new here or if you have followed this journey for a while, you would know that this house was bought right before the COVID lockdown and then waited for it to build, and then I've moved in with my partner since about 2 years ago. And part of the reason why I'm doing this video is because the house is up for sale. So the house is already up for sale, and I thought like it's the best moment to sort of like peel back and show you guys how I've been living for 2 years, what a 484 square feet one bedroom would look like, and most importantly, if you're interested in the house, you can also let me know. All right, so for now, just follow me around and I'll take you through. So there's not a lot of house, but we'll start with the main entrance here. And coming in on the side, we have sort of like a small shoe cabinet and a mirror to check ourselves out when we head out. But I think one of the best thing that I like about this unit, and I already love it based off the floor plan, is that we have a kitchen, L-shaped kitchen that's tucked to the side. You know, usually with one bedroom, what you have is like a kitchenette, just like one panel all the way to the end. So what I like is that we do have a little bit more of a counter space as well. And what this acts at is like a buffer between like the living room and also the kitchen area. So there's sort of like a good segmentation of space. Even for one bedroom, I think that is actually something that's quite unique. Then we are already in the living room, of course, and this is also where I work. If you can see, that's my laptop there. I haven't really bothered cleaning up because I just wanted to show you guys really like a as-is condition. And then you have the balcony. So the balcony is right out there. What is great is that we are on the mid floors. We are on the mid floors, and then there's no building that's directly in front of us. So I think that is something that I appreciate. It's also the stadium, so you kind of have a perpetual view, which I think is quite nice. Yes, of course, a little bit of a traffic noise, but then actually once you enter in and then like close everything up, it's not really that big of an issue. And then next, I am just going to show you the master bedroom and the toilet. So there's two doors behind me. I'll start with the master bedroom first because this is where the magic happens. So just follow me. Welcome to the master, and of course, as with most one bedroom nowadays, master good enough to fit a queen size bed. And then we also have the wardrobe. So I think the wardrobe is sufficient for now. You give us a couple of months, we might struggle a little bit. It helps because it helps to limit what you actually buy, which is why we have storage beds and then also a storage couch. And then next to it here is where the master toilet is. I mean, the only toilet that we have. And here it is. Everything is sort of like developer's condition. We didn't really do anything, so all this came as it is. And yeah, so this is kind of it. Just flip it around and I'll show you. So this is kind of the toilet. This is what we're working with. So this is pretty much the house. So as I was taking you through the small house tour, I was also had a little bit of tiny reflections, just thinking how grateful I am to be able to be in a position to think about potentially upgrading into something bigger. But then I also kind of reflected and realized that, you know, at a point where we were buying this house in 2020, everything was a bit uncertain. It was also putting a little bit of faith into the property market, and I think what has helped is definitely like through that purchase, you know, we will be making a slight profit from this, and then this would also help us into our next purchase. And I think this is especially helpful for a lot of like young buyers, first time buyers, or people who have bought their first home and looking to upgrade. You know, how this property purchase could actually help you in your next one, because assuming, you know, whether you're single or whether you are a couple, you know, you have been working and consistently still saving your CPF and all that, this is definitely something that could work in your favor. And then so I'm just going to show a little bit of that calculations, and just to show you how buying this first home a couple of years ago, even though we didn't make like the most number of profits, we won't be making like the most number of profits, but it is to help us leverage to move into something bigger, hopefully soon. Alright, so I have my laptop right here and I have some numbers here. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to talk you guys through it. And you know how we are using this as a way to decide like, hey, how much can we afford for our next home? And okay, so the first one, we look at CPF use, CPF use, the accrued interest, and our current CPF OA. So for my partner, he's still working. He has a stable corporate job. So he was already had a little bit more CPF when we bought the house. So his CPF use is about 98,470.87 plus the accrued interest about 9.6 thousand, and then his current CPF OA is about 83,514. And then if you look at myself, the CPF use is about 72,000, accrued interest is like 6,200 plus, and my current CPF OA is like 31,000 plus. And because I've transitioned into being a fully self-employed person, I'm not making any CPF, so my CPF OA is significantly lower over here. But then why I'm calculating all this amount is to see how much in total CPF we have available for the next house, and we look at the CPF use, the accrued interest, because those are amounts that has to be paid back into your CPF when you sell the house, and then whatever that's remaining in your current CPF OA that you have saved as you have been working could also be used into your next house. So just by this, it's not even like any extra savings. It's just like, you continue with your employment, and then these are savings that come with it. So our total CPF available would be about slightly over 300,000. And then we look into our estimated sale pricing for this house. We bought it at 734,000. Estimated house price, the estimated sale price would be, I would say, maybe 850 if we are lucky. And then we take away our outstanding loan, which is about 517,000 over here. The CPF amount that has to be refunded into our account, so about like 186,000. Agent commission that I have to pay off from, assuming an agent brings their buyers to come buy my house, so that's about 1% plus a GST, so about $9,200. Lawyer fee as well, maybe about $2,000, and then this will give me roughly the cash on hand that I could get from selling this house will be about $135,000. And this is important because when we look at 135,000 plus the slightly over 300,000 in our CPF OA, this will give us an amount about 136,345.41 to work with for our next home. So looking at this amount, of course, because 135,000 actually are cash proceeds, so that is the slight buffer that we've made from staying in this house. I know a lot of calculations out there. I'm not factoring like stamp duty. I'm not factoring like like the interest that I've been losing by staying in this home. I'm just factoring the money that I'm getting that I could use for the next house. So with that being said, means we have about 436,000 to play with both in cash and CPF, and this doesn't include any additional savings that you save over this years. So at about 436,000, we will likely be looking at maybe a next house purchase of about 1.5 would definitely, $1.5 million would be quite safe, and then, or even slightly more, 1.55. So looking at this amount, I think what if we don't want to touch any additional savings, we will be looking at a house that's about $1.5 million, and this is the breakdown for how much the $1.5 million house will look like. So this would actually be coming off from the cash proceeds that we've gotten from the house, and also the CPF that we've accrued throughout this few years of employment as well since we've moved in. Alright, so that concludes my sharing for today, and and how I'm thinking about my upgrading process of selling this 1-bedroom and moving into a 2-bedroom. So watch on for more. But most importantly, if you're watching till now and if you are in a similar situation, whether you're buying your first home or you already have your first home and you're looking to think about what's next, and I know there's a lot of noise out there, you should buy as big as you can, you should buy new, wait for 4 years and go rent. But if you truly believe that that is not for you and you don't want to overstretch yourself, you don't want to put all the money that you have in property, and you are okay with slow progress, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to walk you through the different options that you have. And most importantly, if you're interested in this house, definitely let me know. I can arrange for an exclusive tour for you, and we can even talk about special pricing if you are really interested. Alright, so that's all from me today. And comment below, let me know what you still want to know, if you have any questions that I should answer in my videos, and I will see you the next time. Bye!